Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Happy first day of spring. I'm so excited about that, you guys. Even though it's kind of snowing still where I live, I'm so excited for springtime. So today I'm going to be doing a spring-inspired makeup tutorial, but I didn't want to do my classic slash favorite peachy kinds of looks. So as I was looking through some of my products, I found the ColourPop Yes Please palette, and this inspired me so much to do something using this really gorgeous yellow shade. I know yellow isn't really something that I normally reach for on a day-to-day basis. You know me, I like my peaches and my neutral browns, but I really wanted to use something with color and make it wearable for spring. So I was looking actually on Pinterest after I found the yellow shadow, and I found gorgeous runway photos using yellow eyeshadow where the yellow is just smoked out on the eye, and so that's what I'm going to do today. It's going to be so easy, but it's going to be kind of fashion forward yet wearable, which I really like, and you could even do this look on an everyday basis. I feel like it's just a really fun twist on a spring makeup look, not using your typical like pinks on the eyes, and so I'm really excited to show you guys how to create this. Let's just get right into it. I'm actually going to start with my complexion first. Since the eyes are so easy, we don't need to worry about prepping the eyes first. There's not really going to be that much fallout, so I'm just going to go ahead and go straight into foundation. Actually, I prepped my skin already with my skincare, and I feel like for this look I'm wanting to just use that as my primer. I want to keep it pretty fresh, and I feel like my skincare left my skin looking really nice. So I'm just going to go into the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Luminous Foundation. You guys know I recently tried this out and I really love it. It's so dewy, and for this look, because it's spring, I'm going to keep things pretty dewy. So I'm just going to go ahead and pump a little bit on the back of my hand, and I do this sometimes because I want to really have more control over how much foundation is on the skin. It's always easier to add more coverage than it is to take it off. So I'm just kind of dabbing a little bit on the skin, and then I'm taking my foundation brush and kind of pressing that in. But with this look, again, because it's springtime, I want the makeup to be extremely fresh looking, extremely skin-like, and I'm going to be using a lot of cream products to achieve that look. But I just think that kind of vibe will complement the yellow eyeshadow so well. I'm so excited to start seeing like things bloom and blossom around here. I love spring as a season, however my allergies would say otherwise. I have like the worst allergies in spring. Oh my gosh, but you know what? It's a beautiful season, and I love flowers. I love plants and trees blooming, and the weather too is always like incredible. It's not too hot, not too cold. I love it. After I have a nice layer all over the skin, I like to kind of pat over areas that need a little more coverage with some extra foundation. That way, you know, areas that don't have too much discoloration can kind of shine through and look more skin-like, and then I can just kind of dab on areas that I need a little more coverage. So now that our complexion is pretty evened out, I'm going to go into the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Concealer. I also recently tried this out and really like it so far. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply this underneath the eyes. I'm going to do one eye at a time. I've seen like a few people here on YouTube do this trick, and I've been testing it out myself. And I feel like I do like doing one eye at a time because it allows you to blend out the concealer immediately, and then I feel like it helps prevent getting, you know, uneven coverage under the eyes. I just really like it. I'm also dabbing a little bit of concealer over this cheek area here because there was a little bit of discoloration that I want more coverage on. But again, since this is a fresh spring look, I'm not super concerned about ultra full coverage. I like a little bit of my skin to show through. So this kind of just evens out the skin tone, adds a luminosity, and just looks really fresh and so spring-ish. Springy? Springish. Since we're going to stick to a lot of cream products today, for bronzer, I'm going to go into my Hoola Quickie Contour Stick from Benefit. I love this. You guys know I love this a lot. I haven't used it in a tutorial in a hot minute, but I like to apply it to the back of my hand first. I learned this from Patrick Ta's tutorial once. So I like to take that, and then I take it on a little brush, kind of shear it out on the back of my hand first, and then I will kind of go in pressing motions and just kind of add a little bit of warmth to the skin. This isn't going to be a super sculpted look. I'm just wanting to add warmth to the perimeters of the face, kind of help us look sun-kissed after a long winter. So I'm kind of just building it up in the areas that I want to add warmth. So around the perimeter of my forehead, I like to get it a little bit in the hairline so it looks more natural, and then under the cheekbones. And sometimes I do a soft smile, and I will kind of follow it up to the front of the cheek to sculpt that out further. Along the jawline, down the neck a little bit. And then I'll take what's left on the brush and kind of pinch it and run it down the sides of my nose and underneath to really lightly sculpt that out. And then I'm kind of patting that over the nose as well to kind of oh heavens, to kind of make it look like the sun has hit my nose right here and kind of on my cheeks. It just helps kind of mimic a natural tan. We are looking glowy, we are looking radiant. Next, I'm gonna be hopping into a Glossier Cloud Paint. These are cream blushes and they are gorgeous. The one I'm gonna use is in the shade Beam. This is just gonna complement the yellow eyeshadow so beautifully. So I put the tiniest amount on my hand. Actually, that's probably a little too much. And I like to blend it out on the back of my hand, kind of like I did the bronzer. And then I'll smile a little bit and just use my hands to press that into the cheeks. And it's just gonna give the softest color to the cheeks, like we went for a little jog. And I just like to kind of pat that all over. You guys know I love blush, so I don't hold back. But just put on as much as you would like to add a little bit of life to your face. But I just feel like that looks so fresh. Oh, I love it. I'm just gonna lightly take my sponge and press over the cheek area to make sure that there are no harsh edges. And for highlight, I'm gonna go into the Benefit What's Up highlight. It's been a while since I've used this and I miss it. It's the most gorgeous champagne cream highlighter you will ever see. I just take my sponge and I go directly onto the product, and then I will use the sponge to press that on the high points of the cheek. I'm using all of my cream products first before I set anything with powder, and that just allows everything to blend smoothly and seamlessly. I know it's kind of a weird order from what I usually do. I don't normally do my entire face first, but since we're using creams, this is the best way that I've found to do that. I'm just gonna press it on all the high points of the face, and then I'll even take my finger sometimes and dab it just down the center of the nose, a little on the cupid's bow. But again, this is just the most gorgeous, subtle highlight. It looks so natural, so if you're into natural highlighters and you like to wear cream highlighters, you definitely need to check this out. It's so pretty. So now that we've got our complexion in line, I'm gonna go ahead and use some powder, but only in the areas that I really want to set. So I'm gonna go into my Glossier Powder in the shade Light. I've been using this a lot recently. I just love how it blends over my makeup, but doesn't look powdery or cakey at all. Press this on the chin area. The smile lines I definitely want to be set. Basically my entire T-zone. I'm gonna take a smaller brush, and then I'm going to pat out the concealer on the eyelid and go ahead and set the eyelid as well. I'm also gonna put a little bit of powder through the brows, just so that our brow pencil can adhere a little better. So I'm just making sure to get a nice layer of powder under the eyes, around the sides of the nose. But I'm leaving the perimeters of my face powder free, and that's just going to add to the fresh spring dewy skin look. I also like to set the very center of my forehead, and those are the areas that I want to keep shine free. Let's do our brows now. I'm actually going to use an old favorite of mine. I pulled out my Anastasia Brow Wiz recently and I've fallen back in love. It's so good. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill in the brows using really light strokes. To me, this look looks best with a really feathery brow. Those are my favorites to do anyway. So I'm just really lightly going to shape it out with this pencil, just using hair-like strokes and then combing it through as you go. So now that we've got our brows filled in, we're gonna move on to eyeshadow. This is the fun part. So again, I'm gonna take the ColourPop Yes Please palette, and I'm gonna hop into this shade right here called Full Zip. I think that I'm reading the back of the palette right. Hopefully I'm gonna get the names right. And this shadow is just going to help us put a solid base on the entire eyelid. So I'm just gonna take a nice fluffy brush and literally put this all over the lid up to the brow bone, kind of in this inner corner here. I just really wanna prep the entire lid space with some shadow. That's just gonna help all of our colors blend out really easily. So next, I'm gonna go into this shade right here called Champs. It's just a really pretty peachy pink. Don't worry though, this isn't going to be our main color. I'm gonna take that on the exact same brush actually, and really lightly start to sweep this above the crease as our transition shade. And I'm really working lightly and building up color. I'm also building up color kind of in this inner corner here and all the way out. I'm not going to be too concerned about really diffusing the lines out a little bit further than normal. I just think it's going to look so pretty once we add the yellow shadow on top. So I'm just really working in layers and buffing and blending it out. While I'm at it, I'm going to take that same shade and I'm going to kind of go right underneath the lash line and connect it up to the shadows here. So we're kind of creating a really subtle cat eye shape using this really nice light peach shade. We're going to kind of outline the area that we want the yellow to go. So I'm really going right underneath that little eye bag. What do you call it? but I just feel like that really defines the eyes and makes it look really cute. So that's where I'm applying the eyeshadow, and then again, just blending it up to connect it with the shadows that we already have going on the top lid. And it's just a really soft kind of aura around the eye. Now we're gonna go into the yellow shade. This is called Mischief, I believe, if I'm reading the palette names right. I'm just taking the same brush, you guys. I know it's kind of weird, but I practiced this look earlier and it worked really well. So I'm just gonna tap off the extra to make sure we don't have too much fallout. And I'm gonna start to buff that on the eyelid, starting at the lash line. Then as the brush gets less product on it, I'm gonna start to kind of move in circular motions and actually go right over top of the peaches that we applied. And when these two colors blend together, it's gonna make a little bit more of an orange, but I absolutely love it. And it's not going to be super defining, but it will add a little bit of depth with the yellow. I'm also taking it in this inner corner here. You guys, I'm using a super light hand though. We're not gonna go very heavy at all. And blending it out where we kind of blended out that peach shade earlier. We're just gonna do the same thing on this eye, packing it on the lid and then lightly blending it up and out. And I am on purpose getting it into this inner corner here because I feel like that makes it look more editorial, more runway. But since yellow is kind of a subtle color in a way, I feel like you can really pull it off. So give it a shot. See how you like it, because I really like having a little bit of yellow in that inner corner. I think it's so pretty. I'm gonna take a little definer brush, and with the same yellow color, I'm gonna tap off the extra. This time, go close to the lash line with this and then connect it out. So we're kind of filling in the gaps that we left when we did the outline with the peach, kind of filling in the inner parts of that with the yellow shadow, connecting it up to the existing shadows again. I'm gonna go back into that same brush, go back into the peach shade that we used to outline, and I just want a tiny bit more above the yellow. Seriously, not too much at all, just to kind of add a little more definition, and I'm gonna add it even more along the lower lash line. I love these two colors when they mix. I think it creates the prettiest soft orange, but it's subtle, so you can't even really tell. But it's all about the details. I feel like I love just mixing colors really lightly. This is looking so pretty. It's so different, huh, to use yellow in this way. I personally have never really done it. It's actually more wearable than you think it is. So after your eyeshadow is nice and blended out and looks how you want it to, you can go into mascara. I'm going to use the Lash Warrior mascara from Flower Beauty. If you guys watched the video where I reviewed this, you'll know that I thought I was buying black. The tube says black, the packaging says that the shade is black, but it's brown. Oh my gosh, my nails. How long has it been like that? But it's actually brown, so that was kind of strange, but I actually don't mind it anymore because I really have been looking for a good drugstore brown mascara, and this is really good. I'm gonna use brown because I want it to be a little softer than a black. You can definitely use black if you want to, but I just kind of like the idea of combining a yellow shadow look with a brown mascara. It'll still define the lashes, but again, it's gonna look really, really soft, which will kind of complement our whole soft, diffused yellow look. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply 2 coats of this to the top and bottom lashes. All right, so I just finished applying mascara. I went kind of a little more light-handed on the lower lashes than I typically do, just because I want the yellow to be really a focal point and not overpower it too much. I'm just kind of blending out these edges again at the bottom. I want it to be super diffused. Isn't that so pretty? I think it's so fun. So I'm going to go ahead and set the brows with my Glossier Boy Brow in the shade Blonde, just to add a little bit more texture to the brow. Now I'm just gonna wipe off the foundation on my lips. And for lips today, I'm gonna go into the Dose of Colors Stay Glossy Lip Glosses. This one's in the shade Happy Hour. It's just the prettiest peachy pink, and I feel like for a spring look, a gloss would be perfect. You could use a tinted lip balm, whatever works for you. I'm just gonna apply this really quick. So now I'm just going to kind of assess the situation. You guys know I like to kind of take a step back, look at my makeup, and see if there's any things that I want to add. I'm actually gonna add a tiny bit more of the Glossier blush right on the apples of the cheeks. I feel like I lost some of that color when I put the powder on. But if you use light amounts of this blush, I feel like it goes over powdered perfectly fine. Just don't like wipe, you know, use pressing motions. Yes, that's what I wanted. Then I'm debating. I want something in the inner corner. I think I'm actually gonna use my What's Up highlight to do this. So I'm just gonna take a brush and put it directly into the product and just kind of press it into the inner corner here. I just want something subtle, but I love inner corner highlights. Yeah, I think that's pretty. Just doing a really light amount, and maybe with the rest of what's on the brush, I'll just put it right on the brow bone. So that is it, you guys. That completes my spring makeup tutorial using a little bit of color, a little bit of yellow. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I definitely love how it turned out. Hopefully it inspires you guys to play with yellow a little bit more. I definitely am so surprised at how much I love yellow eyeshadow. I would have never ever chosen this shade as a main part of any eye look, but I'm so glad I played around with it because I think it's so fresh and it makes your face just kind of look warm and alive. I love it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this too. Leave a comment down below letting me know if you did, and if you like yellow eyeshadows, I would love to know. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, please join the family by hitting the subscribe button, and after you have joined the family, go ahead and hit the bell after you subscribe, and that'll just mean you'll be notified every single time I post a video, so you'll never miss out when I upload. That is everything, you guys. Have an amazing first day of spring wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye!